Perhaps the funniest story on the internet today is this particular story, and that's with Joe Rogan challenging Professor or Dr. What's his name, Peter Hotez, to debate RFK Jr. on vaccines. Now, this all arose from this Dr. Hotez actually labeling Rogan and RFK Jr., who recently did a podcast together for spreading misinformation by sharing this Vice article, which says Spotify has stopped even short of trying to stem Joe Rogan's vaccine misinformation. A broad swath of anti-vaccine universe celebrated Thursday when Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the country, hosted a 3-hour conversation with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the anti-vax luminary turned presidential candidate. So I'll link to these articles in the description, but this was the Vice article that sparked the entire online war of words today, where it's actually turned out where Joe Rogan actually offered this Dr. Hotez bloke, I think it's probably $100,000 that he offered, but then on top of that, other people have actually jumped in and offered money as well for this debate to take place. Now, this money that's being offered will be donated to charity of Hotez's choice. And I think it's almost up to around $1 million worth of donations that people have pledged just for the fact that this guy here, Hotez, for him to debate RFK Jr. on Joe Rogan's platform. But he has been very sly in not taking up the offer, because it appears that even though he 100% believes that he is correct in all his views around vaccinations, he is not prepared to debate RFK Jr. He is, in fact, a coward. So if I just show you the figures here, how much people have donated, let me find that. Here we go. The Peter Hotez versus RFK Jr. charity debate pot is up to about $860,000. This was probably like 20, 30 minutes ago, so it's probably up to about $1 million now. Even poor me, I've also pledged $1,000 to see this debate go through. And I think a lot of people are probably pledging money because they don't actually believe these COVID vaccine experts who are so adamant that they were correct about everything they said during that period of time will actually engage in such a public debate where you have two people who are very knowledgeable on the topic having a debate against each other with a moderator such as Joe Rogan, right? Who is very impartial in many ways. He has his own views, but he's known to be very fair and very open to talking to all these people. And Hotez himself has previously been on the Joe Rogan podcast, where he's actually, even then, I think he was in 2019, he was asked about debating RFK Jr., and this is what he had to say then. So this might give you a bit of an idea on the measure of the man.
Now, I know that Robert Kennedy Jr. is
He's a big one.
He's a big one. Yeah. And he seems like a very intelligent guy. How could he not be aware of the science behind this? And what is he getting wrong?
What he's getting wrong is just about everything. He's formed an organization called Children's Health Defense. And he had a press conference about it, I think it was September, October of last year. It is probably one of the best organized anti-vaccine groups out there. Now, he's doing other things other than vaccines. He's doing a lot of things about environmental health and things like that. I don't know any part of that business. I've only followed what he does with vaccines, but it's all nonsense.
Why is he doing this about vaccines?
I don't know. What's his motive? I mean, you have to ask him what's his motivation.
Would he be a guy that you would want to have a debate with or have a discussion with?
But again, I mean, I'm uncomfortable with the idea of a debate because it's like debating. I don't know. It's like debating a Holocaust denier whether the Holocaust exists. I mean, not that this rises.
I understand what you're saying, but if you're, again, I want to bring this up. If you're complaining there's 19 books ahead of yours that are anti-vaccine books, you've already lost the battle. Like, it's time to regroup, and maybe regrouping would be confronting someone with actual scientific information. I mean, you are a real doctor. You're a guy who actually studies this, and you're a man who understands the science. You're a legitimate academic. You could actually put a dent in this with a real conversation.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, what would he be able to say? Like, what is his take on it?
Well, remember, he's an attorney, and he's very clever, right? And he presumably knows how to do arguments in court. And what am I? I'm a scientist.
Right, but
What am I? I'm just a scientist. He's a lawyer. So this was, I think, in 2019 or something. So not even related to COVID vaccinations, just in general, him being asked this question. So that is that doctor, professor, or whatever he is, Hotez. And so this whole thing sparked again because this is what Professor Hotez wrote. He wrote, Spotify has stopped even short of trying to stem Joe Rogan's vaccine misinformation. It's really true, Anne Marilyn. Just awful. And from all the online attacks I'm receiving after this absurd podcast, it's clear many actually believe this nonsense. So let's see how Joe Rogan actually responded to this. I'll go through this article. He wrote, Peter, if you claim what RFK Jr. is saying is misinformation, I am offering you $100,000 to charity of your choice if you are willing to debate him on my show with no time limit. Okay? And Rogan's challenge for Hotez came after the doctor took to social media to trash. Okay, we talked about that. Elon Musk appeared quite excited at the prospect of the two having a debate. He reacted to Joe Rogan's post with 2 fire emojis. Hotez began his response by answering, Joe, you have my cell, my email. I'm always willing to speak to you, but made no effort to say whether or not he would accept the debate or its terms. Rogan replied saying, this is a non-answer. I challenge you publicly because you publicly quoted, tweeted, and agreed with that dog shit Vice article. If you're really serious about what you stand for, you now have a massive opportunity for a debate that will reach the largest audience, a discussion. And then Elon Musk chimes in, because gotta love Elon Musk just chiming into all these things. He writes, he's afraid of a public debate because he knows he's wrong. Right? I think it comes down to what Elon Musk is saying here about these doctors unwilling to actually face a public style debate, not in front of some committee in the government where a government minister can shut down the debate, right? Not on television, on one of these cable network stations where they all get fluffed around by the person that's they're talking to, who won't ask them and probe on these type of issues. We're talking about an actual debate moderated by someone like Joe Rogan, goes for 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, who cares how long it goes for, but we can actually get to the crux of these things. But these guys are afraid, right? What are they so afraid of? RFK Jr. is not afraid. He's up for the debate. He wants to do the debate. But these other doctors, they're afraid. Let's have a look at what else he said. And then Peter Hotez wrote, Joe, if you are serious about addressing vaccines, plus the fact that 200,000 unvaccinated Americans needlessly perished during our awful Delta COVID waves, including 40,000 in your state of Texas, because they fell victim to vaccine disinformation, I want to have that discussion. Rogan continued to lay into Hotez, sharing screenshots of unhinged posts where he made while asking, are you sure I'm not a part of a coalition with neo-fascist leanings? Seems like that's what you really think, or are you projecting to the masses? And that's because Hotez actually shared a particular post calling Elon Tucker link then fold in Rogan with RFK Jr., and it becomes pretty formidable coalition with neo-fascist leanings, in some ways darker or perhaps more dangerous than Trump. In my opinion, awful. I just hope Team Biden is preparing. So this was not that long ago as well. So this guy obviously has very warped views about people, talking freely about this type of thing. So if you engage in this type of, debate or criticizing governments and criticizing vaccines and so forth, you are part of some sort of neo-fascist, conspiracy against Joe Biden. So I'm going to just show you this other video where you can kind of get an idea of why perhaps this Hotez doesn't want to engage in these debates. So let's just have a look. I might have to skip parts of this as well. Let's play this.
One of the things that we're not hearing a lot about is the unique potential safety problem of coronavirus vaccines.
And then something changed.
Any vaccine released by emergency use authorization by the FDA is an outstanding.
When you hear the beep, That's the sound of safety.
So don't overthink it. They're both really good. They're all really good vaccines. Get vaccinated now.
You gotta call now.
If you wait, it's going to be really too late to protect your child.
If this was your child, what happens next could make it the worst day of your
Vaccinate
life.
your children.
Do the right thing. Be safe and not sorry.
I'm strongly recommending for adolescents to get their 2 doses of vaccine and fully immunized after those 2 doses.
Advanced technology that can help save lives.
This is going to be a long-lasting vaccine. A long-lasting vaccine.
A few moments later.
We're seeing that 2 doses is not holding up well for emergency room visits. It's not holding up well for hospitalizations.
Here we go again.
Everyone's going to need a booster. You need that 3rd immunization.
Triple the amount.
Get that 3rd immunization. The 2 mRNA vaccines were always a 3-dose vaccine. The 2 mRNA vaccines were always a 3-dose vaccine. I've always said this is a 3-dose vaccine. I've always said this is a 3-dose vaccine. This is a 3-dose vaccine.
But I'm not done yet.
That 3rd immunization, the problem is it's not holding up. So we may have to look at sort of innovative solutions.
Oh God, not this again.
A 4th immunization, just to keep them going, keep the country going. We have to consider some out of the box things. A 4th immunization. A 4th immunization.
So look, this goes for about 4 minutes. I'll actually link to this video so you can find it. I'm not sure exactly if it's available on YouTube, but definitely on Twitter it's there. I will link to it, and you can have a watch of the whole 4 minutes. It's quite hilarious because he goes from, obviously saying the vaccine works to then the 2nd vaccine, then the booster, 3rd booster, 4th booster, and you get the drift. He just keeps going down this path. And this is Dr. Hotez, and this is the bloke that is afraid to, even with about $1 million, probably more than $1 million now on the line for charity of his choosing, and having all this confidence and all this knowledge to appear on TV and do all of these things, he is crap scared, right? Shit scared at the moment. It could change, but at the moment, he is scared to actually debate someone with an opposing view. And it's quite embarrassing, and it just goes to show you just how little faith that these people possibly have in their scientific views and their own information that they say is so valid. Anyway, guys, hope you're enjoying these videos. You can follow along at The Real Rukshan on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook at The Real Rukshan. See you next time.